oh my gosh, you've got a picture of yourself, like a self-portrait in the background there.
Okay, so that's, hang tight, let me show you. That is actually a self-portrait graphic I did, and it's part of my design. Some fan-based art. It's a t-shirt.
Oh, are you serious?
And look, so all my new works have my autograph on them. I don't know if you could see it. You see?
Yes. Oh no. Okay. Sorry, I was about to call you Stephanie.
The back.
A lovely person called Stephanie Levy just joined. Hello, Eva Garuka. Oh, I love the names. I need to have a piece of your. Okay, I'm wearing a different one, by the way, today.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. Look at you.
But I love the idea of having your face. Is it conceited to wear your own face? Because I want to have me on. Is that too
We
much?
can make it happen. I could design one for you, and we could have you on my fashion line. You could be my muse.
Oh. Okay, so everyone, I tried to explain my very quick introduction on Instagram just like 5 minutes ago. Both Nancy and I have just walked in our houses. I have been having a bit of a self-care day, a few days, I'd say. And I just went and had some, like a wonderful facial with Reiki and just all this incredible stuff on my skin from my good friend, Heather Messino Funk. She's Heather Skincare. At Heather Skincare, something. Hopefully she'll tune in so she can give her correct Instagram handle. But she's amazing. So I just literally got in like 15 minutes ago. I was like, oh, Nancy, hi, you want to do this? Come on. And you just came in from where? Where have you been today?
Oh, goodness. So I'm part of this wonderful vendor of independent women. And before COVID and slightly during COVID, once a month, we get together and we have this vendor event. There's amazing products. Long story short, my second book, I'm debuting it at this vendor event by Jolly Juices at 668 Broadway Street in Brooklyn. And so we were out in the rain, basically door knocking to all the networking. It's like, give us some of your business cards. Can we leave our brochure with you? Local businesses, we all need to connect. We need to stay together. So I was schmoozing in the rain. So I looked like a deranged redheaded about 5 seconds ago. So
oh my, like, what is it this Memorial Day weekend? Why are we going to be completely like rained out? Like nothing. How and why?
Wasn't it a couple of summers ago? It rained 18 weekends out of the whole summer. Like 2 years ago, like every weekend it rained. I don't know if you remember that. I think it was like 2 summers ago. Before COVID.
I barely remember what happened yesterday. But anyway, listen, before we proceed, I want to make sure that you have, okay, good, exactly. I want to make sure you have a good beverage.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, hello, Zuhaira Mouse. Oh, Zuhaira Mouse. That's a good name. Cheers. I hope everyone
wonderful friend of mine. Hi, I'm glad you joined us.
And
cheers.
Everyone on the East Coast should at least have a drink with them now, because quite frankly, there's not much else that's going to be happening this very rainy weekend, right?
You know, who knows, right? I say dance in the rain, you know.
You did what in the rain? You play games in the rain?
Dance in the rain. You said there's nothing we can do. Dance in the rain.
You're going to dance in the rain? All right, darling.
Well, I need to learn how to dance. That's on my bucket list, but, you know, first things first.
Dance naked in the rain.
No. Too many kids in my neighborhood. I'm right across from a park. I got to be selective.
Okay, good. All right. I also Nancy Rouse art in the background here. Yeah. Love it. Okay, darling. So tell me, what are you up to? So you said your second book. I've got the first edition.
You're one of the very few that do. We're in the progress of trying to get it here to the States. And recently we dropped volume number 2 of Never Broken.
Yeah.
And I could show you, if I don't make you guys dizzy with motion sickness. The original one is a beautiful, talented book editor of mine. She has the original one to this series, and what it is, hang on, let me see if I can do this. Just a second, bear with. You see it's your body, right? The canvas is stretched out, weathered. But what they can't take away from what? Your hopes, your inspiration, your dreams, right? So there's normally a line that beats in here, and you wear your 3D glasses, and here's the heart. So this piece is part of the series Never Broken. So my editor and also a big fan and art collector, Deborah, said, you know what, I'm going to have your book published. Like after she took this piece back to the States, the original one. You know, and I didn't think anything of it. And then like a few winters ago, actually it was in March, we had this freak snowstorm, and it's just like, I got snowed in for the first time in like forever. I wrote poetry, I painted a painting, and I flipped it to my friend and art collector. And she says, I have a surprise for you. And she covered a picture similar to this, like this. Send me a picture like this.
Okay.
And I started crying. And then she showed me similar. You got the first one. And I just started sobbing. She said, how quick can you get here? That day I booked a flight, and even though I'm hearing impaired, cannot speak any other languages, I hopped on a plane to Argentina.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing. It was just such a wonderful thing she did. She designed it. She edited it, put it together, went through I had hundreds of pages, and she was just painstakingly went through it. And it was just such an amazing, you know, she's one of my heroes, you know, so it was just an amazing opportunity. And she's been,
your work is amazing. Your work is amazing. So I think it's wonderful that she came along and decided that she was going to take the job on herself and get your work published, you know, because it's fantastic work. And I think everyone that can, I mean, your life story. So let's try and go into it, because I don't want Instagram to cut us off. So tell the audience a little bit about Nancy Rouse. Like, what I keep saying to you, what job have you not done? So go back a little bit. Just give us, let's try and make the story as concise as possible, because there is literally no job on this earth you haven't done. So just
I haven't read a camera or a street sweep, so no one will let me try them. I mean, it's on my list. I don't know why, they just look like fun. So anyways, so my name is Reverend Nancy R. Rouse. You can find me at rousehouseart.com. I'm originally from Kentucky. I'm 44 years old. My father was in the Vietnam War, and he was exposed to Agent Orange. And eventually we lost him in New Year's Eve 2010 because he succumbed to the poisons and the toxins. And it was basically a poison they put on the plants to kill the plants, so the enemies couldn't hide in the plants. I don't know if many people know about this, and people aren't aware, but children, offsprings of those exposed, had severe disabilities. So I was very lucky that it was just a few things with me, like, you know, a small birth defect in my heart, my hearing. Right before the pandemic, I tried hearing aids again for the second time. It's been amazing because, you know, you can't read lips like this, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I made somebody laugh the other day. I said, you know, I read lips because I'm hearing impaired and I'm a little screwed right now. And they just busted out laughing, but I was laughing, right? It's just like you either feel sorry for yourself, or you get up, you make a joke about it, you figure out how to cope. So, you know, my first book, I really didn't push it in the States because at the time I was fearful of my former abuser. You know, I've survived domestic violence. I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. I survived cancer. You know, there were so many things that I survived from, and I'm so blessed that eventually I was able to go from Kentucky to New York to give my kids a fresh start. You know, now they're in their 20s, thriving, happy, healthy, and it was all well worth it. So when my editor published this book, I was terrified because it was my journal all over again, out in the open. My first journal, my ex-husband had stolen from me and like blasted across the whole neighborhood. You know, so that was, to me, that I felt like that was more violating than anything you could have done to my body, because it was my heart, you know.
Your mind, heart and your mind.
Yes, exactly. It was my personal thoughts and feelings. So this book, and you actually gave me courage. You know, you're like, you don't got to be afraid anymore. And kudos to you, because if it hadn't been for you, I might have not have had the guts to go ahead and publish number 2. And I
Honey,
put it on the,
put
I put it on the most
everything you
readily
do,
available.
everything you do needs to be out there. Like everyone needs to see what, like your work, needs to hear about your work, needs to read your words. They're incredible and hear your story. So go ahead, carry
So,
on.
you know, I've been a sum of my experiences, not a sum of my damage. You know, it's what we do with the little pieces that define us. And that's why I made that series, Never Broken. That's how my books came out, Never Broken, because it was part of my series. What you do with those pieces define you. You know, in my 6th grade year, my mother moved me to the sticks of West Virginia from Kentucky. I felt like it was like further out in the boondocks. I went through a battery of tests, hearing tests, psychological tests, and they labeled me as having a mild form of Asperger's. And between the Asperger's and my hearing impairment, they put me in the lowest disability class they had, to like these poor students that could barely read and write. And it dawned on me what had happened. And at the time, I had a really, really thick hillbilly accent, kind of like Beverly Hillbillies from the old black and white. Well, their cornbread ain't done, you know? Just like that, I talk like that all the time. Well, horse feathers. I mean, I way worse, way worse. But what I did, because, you know, I still have like 60% of my left ear. And on the old tape decks, you remember the tape decks that you had to wind them sometimes with your pencil? And I would
Yes.
listen to myself every day. And it was such a painful experience every day. Well, I don't want to sound like that. How could I correct that? By the end of the year, I lost most of that accent. Of course, here in Brooklyn, they say I still have an accent, but they can't quite peg me where I'm from. That's okay, too. And by the end of the year, long story short, I was in the top honors class they had, making straight A's. They couldn't break me. They could not break me. Labels
High
don't
five. High
mean
five.
a labels don't mean a thing. We cannot let labels define us as an individual.
Amen. That goes for any negative labels that people put on you or even designer labels.
We're going to take a drink. I saw that spinning. You still there, sister?
I'm here, boo.
Well, I got a whole new internet provider after the last fiasco. And if I got any closer to it, it would have to take me out for coffee. Okay? If I got any closer,
Okay,
it
so go
might
on.
be another apparatus. So we'll just say that.
So you end up in the honors class after being labeled basically like not good enough
With learning
and put
disabilities. And
into
I
the
did. You know,
lowest
I
class.
am dyslexic. You know, I do have a mild form of Asperger's. Never talked about it until, like, you and I tried to have the last episode. Instagram, please be kind to us. But, you know, I just trudged through it. You know, I said, I can't let it define me. You know, I have to set an example for my children. I can't let any disability label them. I can't let anything stand in their path because they didn't choose to be here. I brought them into this world, and it was my responsibility to pave a better path for them. So I never had time to feel sorry for myself and lick my wounds. I just had to keep going. And that was my most important thing. And, you know, now that I think about it, because, you know, if I could talk about it, which means I've healed, it doesn't hurt me. For the longest, I couldn't talk about it. For the longest, I didn't have social media. My father, before he passed away in 2010, made my Facebook. And he was dyslexic, you know, but God bless him, he still somehow or another figured it out and said, I put your mother's side on it and your father's and my side. So you can't delete it now, Nancy Ruth, you're stuck with it. Okay, fair enough. Okay, Daddy, I won't get rid of it. And then a few years back, my daughter and my godson made my Instagram because they both said, your art needs to be shown. So it's such a learning experience. It's such a healing experience to say, here, this is what I am. This is what I do. Glean from it, love it, hate it, just as long as you have a positive, honest response. If you hate it, then it's an honest response, a sincere response, and you know what? You'll never forget me. If you love me, somehow or another, maybe some nugget I gave you will help you and help you grow, and maybe that little seed, you know, I'm going to get a little preachy just this one time, I promise. You know, in
Preach,
Scripture, it
Reverend.
says,
Preach, Reverend. Preach, preach, Reverend. Go ahead.
So, scripture says faith the size of a grain of a mustard seed can move mountains. Can move mountains. Okay. I don't know if you know what a mustard seed looks like, but look at the end of your ink pen. That's the side of a mustard seed. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, now think about the seed of doubt and negativism. Or let's just say somebody ticked you off. Somebody hurt your feelings. You think about it, right? And then you think about it again. And then you think about it again. And then you water it and you baby it. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that little seed of doubt becomes your mountain, steals you and robs you of your joy. And I tell this to so many people that I counsel and that I try to help. And then I have to remind myself and do the homework myself. I hear people that are so negative to themselves. And I said, would you allow anybody to call you the B word and tell you to F off or tell you you're a loser? And they said, no, I'd mop the floor with them. I said, then why do you allow yourself to verbally abuse yourself? Whether you say it, whether you think it, garbage in, garbage out. You have to reverse that. You have to reverse that. Positive in, positive out. You have to say, I can, I will, and I shall. And I think that is super, super important. So what I tell them, and I'll be talking to them, and I'm calculating how many times they've said something negative. Usually within the first 5 minutes, they've said at least 3 negative things. I said, okay, stop right there. You owe me 21 positive things about yourself. And I said, what do you mean? For every negative comment, I want 7 positive. I don't care if you think your pinky toenail is cute. I don't care if you think you have the most amazing bed hair, or you love the way your eyelashes curl, or that you're talented in drawing or singing or organizing. I want 7 things. Because it takes 21 days to make a habit, whether it's good. It takes 21 days to get rid of a habit. So you have to rewire your thinking. It's all about your thinking. Positive thinking can pave a road for you. Negative thinking can become a roadblock. And I'll get off my feature platform. But it's so very true. It really is.
I love that. It's absolutely amazing. Someone commented here, Sparkle-esque -23 commented, amazing. It literally is like having words. People have to be reminded constantly to be kind to themselves, to see themselves in a favorable light. Yeah, would you allow someone else to call you the B word over and over and over again? No, I wouldn't. So why are you doing it to yourself? I love that. We need to be reminded to be good to ourselves.
Absolutely. We were created in God's image. Whether you believe in a higher power, the higher energy, we all basically believe in the same thing. That's somehow higher energy in that earth up above us created us, and we're created in His image. So was God imperfect? He created us. So we are in His image. So how can we argue with God? We're going to say, God, you screwed up? No. And we take with what we have and we do something with it. We were created in His image, which means He was a creator. And that means if we're in His image, we all create, whether it's writing, whether it's graphic art, whether it's singing so beautifully and performing like my beautiful friend looking at me in the screen, whether it's work it, baby, work it, whether it's cooking, whether it's making bake sales for the school. We're creating because we have to feed our soul, because we are from the Creator. And this is what helps us. People think about art therapy. Well, we all need art therapy. I briefly tried to have my own agent recently, and she didn't want me to do interviews with any of my friends. She said, it looks like you're a starving artist. And I said, I am a starving artist. You're a starving artist. We're all starving. You know why? We're all starving to do better. We're all starving to achieve. We're all starving to connect with the other side, because we weren't meant to be alone. We weren't meant to just sit on our hands and do nothing. So we're all hungry for connection, hungry for sincerity, hungry for something meaningful, for a purpose. So yeah, we're all starving. And needless to say, now I'm doing it myself, and I'm very blessed, and I keep at it. And I'm just hoping.
You have to keep at it. But then tell
Absolutely,
me,
you have to keep at it.
so when you got away from your abuser and your abuser, I mean, that's a whole huge story in itself, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously there are too many people out there that are suffering at the hands of abusers, be they male or female. You did manage to get away, like you said,
And all
your
those in
children.
between, because we also have the non-binary, the transgender, the LGBTQIA
Of
plus.
course.
So
Yes, absolutely.
we all may suffer.
Every human, and we're all potential abusers and potential survivors or whatever. So I want to know how. Not I do know your story already, but I want you to tell everyone else. How is it that you came from, you first of all were strong enough to get out of that situation? You had your children. You said that you didn't have any time. You didn't have space to be able to feel sorry for yourself because you had your children to raise. So when did you start like creating your artwork? When did you got to Brooklyn, you got to New York? What was
So
the
how
next
did that
step for you?
become? Okay, so when I drove here in 2006, the day I set foot here in 2006, the authorities and my ex were beating on the door to take my kids because I was gay. Not because I was a terrible mother, not because I didn't support them, because I was gay. So by the
And this
grace
was,
of
hold
God,
on, and this was 2006.
2006 in the state of
Not
Kentucky.
not not 1956, not 1946, 2006.
Yeah, because, it's considered a Commonwealth state, and I have a lot of family and friends that I just love and adore there, and I do anything for. But in Kentucky, unfortunately, women and children are deemed as property, and women and children don't really have any rights, and children don't have rights until they're 14. And that was our saving grace when my youngest became 14. I'm not going to tell you their side of the story because that's just their story, and if, you want to interview them down the road, you have to talk to them about it. But when my daughter said enough, the courts couldn't stop us. It didn't matter if I was gay, it didn't matter if I was sick, it didn't matter anything because my child said enough. And in Kentucky, when you're at the age of 14, you can consent, you can have a parent sign you up to be married. It doesn't matter. They kind of sort of see you as an adult at that point. As scary as that law is, that it saved us. And that from that point on, then we could finally build a life, because it was Kentucky versus New York on the gay rights when the gay marriage just came legal. And it was New York versus Kentucky. And it was just, I was in courts here, and child services was called on my ex there. And then New York said, you take them there, you get arrested. Kentucky said, you don't bring them, you get arrested. And any artwork I was making at the time between the courts, I would have colleagues and I would make them promise me, God forbid I don't make it back, promise me you're going to finish this artwork, because I was just mortified at the thought of something not being finished. I didn't want anything to stand in my way to have something finished. So I always had somebody on standby. Like if you go on my website, rousehouseart.com, and Rouse is spelled just like house, just replace the first letter with an R. You'll see my metal pieces. And the metal pieces was when I created back then. And at that point, I had already lost my father, and I just poured my heart into my work. Like I'd be hammering metal for like 12 hours a day. I was like, I know I'm hurting. I know I'm grieving, but I have to do something productive with my time. I have to do something productive. I can't feel sorry for myself. I do not have the option to feel sorry for myself. I have to create a future for myself. I have to be an example for my children and those around me. And I just kept pushing and I kept going. And I haven't stopped since, because, life is too short and precious. And one thing I learned during this pandemic, and I think that's why I hit it guns blazing this year, metaphorically, of course. I got to stop saying that because I'm going to get in trouble one of these days. I guess some parts of Kentucky of me will never leave, right? Let me take a drink before I get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
But I learned life is short. Why am I waiting to finish my bucket list? Like the beautiful dress you're wearing. And the reason why it's beautiful is because you're a dear friend and sister and you're wearing it and you make the artwork beautiful. But that was one. Bravo, sis. Work it. It's amazing. And it's also reversible. So if anyone needs that little black dress.
No, reversible in
black. Don't show you kids. There might be kids on here. But yes, absolutely.
It's
work
right.
it.
I'm not showing them anything above that.
You never know. Sometimes we get carried away. Look at that. That looks great. Thank you
I
so much
love
for being willing to wearing it.
I
But that was
love
part of
these
my bucket
dresses.
list.
I
That was
love
part of
these
my bucket
dresses.
list.
And
Thank you so
just
much.
so that it doesn't go scrolling past, but see sparkly Esquire dash 23 said beautiful
A
words of
good friend of
inspiration.
mine.
Keep
Thank you,
shooting for the
Ma. Love
stars.
you.
Yeah, great. Like just your you inspired yourself, obviously, but also you're inspiring others by being a survivor and having your story be one that we can read about in your poetry or hear from you. And it's like it's maybe it's easy to be a victim, I don't know, but you know, the women that I hear the stories of that do inspire me, my mother's story, your story, it's like you have some sort of tenacity, some sort of strength, some sort of metal in you that makes you go, no, this person who has taken advantage of me and wants to basically end my life, I'm not going to let them win. I'm going to go forth and I'm going to live my best life being an incredible creator. Hi, Jay Bastani. No, Tani. I'm so
Bye.
sorry. JT Bassan. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We may not
But
be able to pronounce you, but we love you. We see you. Thank you for tuning in. Big
yes.
hugs and
Hi,
kisses.
guys.
Handshakes.
This is this is the amazing Nancy R. Rouse, who is a reverend. Can you just tell me very briefly how it is that you became a reverend?
Okay, so many moons ago, I was actually a Sunday school teacher back when my children were little. I was a Sunday school teacher for 10 years. But my papa was an ordained minister, and he was non-denominational. And for those of you who don't know what non-denominational is, it is someone that still believes in God and religion and the higher power, but don't believe in titles. Because he said, you know, back home, everybody calls me by my first and middle name, so it's Nancy Ruth. He said, Nancy Ruth, he said, there's so many people that have been hurt by people claiming titles. They won't reach out for help if you wear a title. And that stuck with me. And when I got it's been almost 10 years, about 9.5 years since I got my license. And back then, that's when gay marriage became legal. And my father had just passed. So I went through the steps, you know, I went through all the training. You know, I had in my life as a Sunday school teacher and all this, I'd read the scriptures all the way through at least 7 times. Doesn't mean I remember them all, but I know the basic stories of most of it. And I just felt like I needed one to do it, to step in my father's shoes. Not that I could ever fill them and still help people. I couldn't feel sorry for myself, but take my experience and become a ministry and help others. You know, I don't always claim religion. I don't always use the title Reverend. But sometimes I'm like, you sound like you need a friend. You want to talk. There's no titles. There's no labels. Just somebody sitting on the other end of the phone saying, what's up? Are you okay?
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's
That's me.
amazing.
Um, that's
you really are the living embodiment of someone that is really here to serve, right? To kind of just really do what you can for other people, to whether it's to
in,
teach.
and speaking to serve, you know,
Yeah.
people are like, it's like some piracy. Like as soon as somebody can figure out a way to make money, they do, right? So when it was legal here in New York for the LGBTQ plus community to marry, they were charging astronomical fees for people to wed
Really?
them. They were monopolizing on that and charging them these grievous amounts. And I was like, that's it. That's enough. Okay, Dad, I see you. I see what you're trying to tell me. Okay, I see. And I went ahead and got my license. And if you're straight, gay, or otherwise, I love you. I'll perform your wedding. You just get a hold of me. I won't charge you a dime. You know what? Because you love who you love. And God and nobody else is going to argue with that, because God created love. We are children of love, and no one should stop you. And that was the last straw for me. I was like, I cannot deny my calling anymore. I can't hide under the bush. I can't lick my wounds. People out there need me, you know. So that was the last straw for me. And that's when I finally went for my license, studied, got my certificates, and then I signed this big, grand book. And my only regret about signing that big, grand book for being a minister in New York is I didn't look at page 1. Sister, when I tell you that book was like this thick and this wide, it was this big, huge book, right? An old leather-bound book, and I don't know how far back it went, but they peel it open. This is in Manhattan. They peel it open, and you have to sign it as a minister, right? Reverend Nancy R. Rouse. And my only regret is not peeling back to page 1 to see how far back that went, because that book looked older than both of us put together. It was just amazing to be part of the history that I'm in, you know, in Manhattan in the books, you know. It's such to be, it was humbling, you know, to be such a part of history. And I know you understand where I'm coming from, because you just recently were sworn in as a U.S. citizen. I think everybody raised their glass. That took
all right.
Big ovaries to do that, and God bless you to see us for what we are.
Yes.
See us for what we are, and to love us anyways. All of our parts, even some of us that are like the black sheep of the family of the United States, you loved us anyways. And you said, I wanted to be a part of this big thing, this big family called America.
I don't know if it went quite like that, but I'll accept that story. I mean, listen, I've fantasized about America, you know, since I was very, very, very young. I watched a lot of American television, being able to come to America, and the path was made so easy for me by the people that God put in my way to help me. I had so many good Samaritans helping me along the way to make my path so simple. You know, just even the idea, like the idea of being able to come here and work legally, and how it was going to happen. Like, okay, the work you did in England will actually enable you to come here and work here and get representation and get sponsorship and everything. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that there was a possibility. Even before I ever came to America, I had, you know, because I did a lot of work in England as an actor, print model and everything. I had a billboard for Virgin Mobiles. You remember Virgin Mobiles? The mobile.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
Richard Branson. I had a big massive poster, or billboard rather, in Times Square before I had even come to America. You know what I mean? It was like, well, it was my destiny, clearly, to come here and for it to be made simple. I must admit that last year, the events of the last, you know, year and a half have really, in England we say, put a spanner in the works. And it did. It ended it put a real knot in my love affair with America. But, you know, my friends are here, my family is here, and it is still a place that I have a deep love for. I do see possibly that there is a way for America to redeem itself in the eyes of the world and in the eyes of those of us that are, you know, that our thoughts about this country, this great country, have now gone to the dogs. But I think there's a way for it to redeem itself. And I think it's on the path to doing that now. So I'm happy that I went ahead and did, you know, doing a test in itself, like learning about, you know, the Constitution and, you know, things like that. I'm like, ooh. But I did it. I passed. I'm grateful. And I am here to stay.
Raise my glass to you, sister. That's amazing. That's an amazing story in itself. You know, you're a trailblazer. Regardless of being ass deep in alligators, you loved us anyways.
Oh, I love it. Ass deep in alligators.
Oh, ass deep in alligators, absolutely.
I'm using that. So talk to me before Instagram cuts us off. Tell me, where are you today? What are you doing today?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you some of my projects that are near and dear to my heart. So I recently signed on with my people in BA, Argentina are sending me pictures. Love you guys. Sending me pics and love. So anyways, I'm just recently signed up with DAN, which is Disability Artists Network out of Dublin in the UK. And I'm so proud of them. And it's all of those that have some form of disability, whether it's anxiety, whether it's PTSD, whether it's something we're born with, whether it's you know, whether it's nature versus nurture, and whatever did something to break us a little, right? you know, we decided to make art and create and pave a new path for ourselves. And I just so proud of this. You can find a link on the top left-hand corner of my website for Dan. Anyone with any form of disability from whatever spectrum, if you do art, we want you, we love you, we embrace you, and you rock. So please, please get on there. We're also on Facebook. We're also on LinkedIn. Dan, Disabilities Artist Network, CIC, I think. You go to my website, you're going to find it. And then
text me the link. I'll put it in the comments. Text me the link and I'll put it in the comment. Or maybe you can as well. I don't know.
I don't have the link right on me.
Okay.
I might lose this if I touch it.
Later.
Okay.
Text it to me later.
You know what? I promise everyone, as soon as we hang up, I'll make a post of it. That way everybody can click on it and link on it. We are a subsidiary. Dan is a subsidiary of Operation Railroad, and it's saving those that have been abducted in human trafficking. And Operation Railroad is an amazing. We're global. We're across the states. It's been a real eye-opening. If you go on Operation Railroad and you go on there and you look, and everybody should sign on to be a volunteer and to take the certification. It takes about an hour, but it's so eye-opening. Like, everything is so digestible. Like, each thing is maybe like a minute or two long, the videos, but it's so informative because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
You're bloody
we all
right.
need to have this knowledge, because we don't know if somebody is going to be placed in our path that we could save, because we're like, hey, I just saw that video. I just saw, oh, this kid is well dressed, but for some reason this person is handling all their money, or you know, all these other signs, or they make the symbol with their hand where they go like this and they fold their hand down. They're asking for help, or the black dot on their hand. You know, so there's just so many things, so many ways these people can secretly and quietly cry out for help. And it's such an amazing program, because thousands and thousands of people every year are abducted. That's somebody's baby. That's somebody's sister. That's somebody's brother, somebody's daughter, somebody's son, you know, and it just speaks to my heart, because, you know, I feel like I'm everybody's mom. I wanted more kids. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but I've adopted so many along the way, and I love everybody, you know.
You are mother to so many. You are. Hello, Papa 309. Hello.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for everybody watching. We love you, and thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
Salute to everybody that's still vertical.
Oh,
the pandemic
vertical.
has been
on
hellacious.
long weekend. Long weekend.
We have a long weekend. Gonna salute. Cheers. You know what? We're all gonna get through this, because we got this. You know what? We got this. You know, we are the sum of our survival from our experiences. All of us. If you're watching this, you're gonna make it. You can, and you will. You just have to say, I can, and I will. And you know, I will. And if someone's out there listening to me, and I know because of the pandemic we've been quarantined, and some of you may have been locked in with your abuser, set a network for yourself, set a plan, because you can and you will survive. We love you. God loves you. You can and you will survive. Set a network. Don't allow yourself to be isolated. Make a plan. Reach out to your loved ones. You will and you can succeed. This is just a single sentence in a chapter of your whole entire life of a book. It doesn't define you. I just feel like in my heart I had to say that, because my heart breaks thinking of all those that didn't get to get that truck and throw their 91 Bonneville on the back of it and put their kids in the front seat like I did. But you know what? You can make a plan and you will get through it. It may take time. It may take time, but you know what? You can do it. You know, all of us, we may stuck, but you can.
I love you. I love you, Nancy. Grove Street, Bala. Hi, how are you? Thank you guys for joining. Before we get cut off, I want you to let people know where we have an art show coming up.
Yes. So this, for starters, let me tell you how I started out. Originally, I came here from Kentucky thinking I had to be a nurse. my heart goes out to everybody in the medical field, especially now. You guys are amazing, all of you. But originally I was in Kingsborough Community College, whom now I work for, and I was in the nursing program. And my instructor, Troy Tico, love him dearly, he says, I need you to be in the student show. And I said, I don't have time. I have clinicals. He said, no, I don't think you understand. If you're not in my show, I'm going to fail you. Yes, sir. Guess what? I was in that show. So in 2008, the president of the college picked my piece, and I won the Presidential Artist Award for 2008. Wow. I bawled, snot, and cried like a baby. The poor president of the college, who's now retired, probably couldn't understand a thing I was saying. I was like, I couldn't contain myself. Ugly cry. I was the queen of ugly cry that day. I didn't care who saw the snot boogers coming out of my nose. I couldn't help it. But you know what? It was a sign for me. It was a sign, you know? And instead of being the nursing, I went the whole other way. And then I graduated from there with honors, top of the dean's list. And I went on to be at Brooklyn College, and I got my fine arts degree. And I said, you know what? I'm coming back because somebody at that college made a difference in my life. Maybe I can be a difference in someone else's. Maybe there's something that I could do. And, you know, I started out, oh, go ahead. My daughter's going to whiz by. Don't mind her. Hi. She's got plans with friends tonight. That's okay. We love that, right? I wouldn't be in my terrible twos for nothing, but God bless her. Let's go have fun. It's a long weekend. So she just finished her finals and just turned 25 on us. Can you believe that? Woo! And I don't know if you can see, but I still have balloons and streamers up from a party on Tuesday. Because somebody hit the big
Tuesday or Wednesday. What day was the party? Tuesday or Wednesday?
It was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. So yeah, so my daughter, yeah, hit the big 2.5, which was amazing. It was amazing. But to get back to my story, so I came back to Kingsborough and I became the budget coordinator. Well, first I started out as $10 an hour job. I was working 2 jobs, college assistant, adjunct college lab techs, because they found out I was good with my hands. Because back home, I was a massage therapist, I was a reflexologist, I cut hair, I built houses, I worked on cars, I did interior decorating. So I brought all this knowledge with me. And you know, this knowledge is called Purdue. You know what Purdue is, Loretta?
Yes, you told me.
It's what the poor do. We figure out how to do it because we can't afford somebody else to do it. So I brought all this knowledge with me. They love me because I could fix things. Love you, sissy. Have a good weekend. So this is what we did. So Purdue got me in, right? So I started out part-time, graduated at Brooklyn College. Before I was done with Brooklyn College, I was already working for Kingsborough, the one that I originally graduated from. Long story short, eventually I got the full-time job. Right before COVID hit, thanks God, I got tenure. But in between that, I said, I need to make a difference. I need to see what I can do. And as a lab tech, you're not supposed to teach. They're supposed to say, you're just a lab tech. Okay, I don't care about titles. As long as I can help others, I don't give a rat's ass. Excuse my language. I just don't care. As long as I'm allowed to help others. So I donated over 2,000 hours of my time because I remember being in an attic apartment with slanted ceilings. I slept in a hammock at night because I didn't have a bedroom. The kids had the 2 rooms, and I painted on my coffee table. And I knew how difficult that was. And then I knew some kids don't have a coffee table, right? And then I knew in this department that there was so much waste. So many students would take this just for an elective, and they would leave other supplies behind. So the gentleman that used to have my position, I said, can I have those? I said, let me refurbish these canvases. Let's paint a coat of paint of gesso over them. Let's take all these supplies and give them to students who can afford. So the department chair at the time allowed me to donate my hours. We created open studios for painting, for drawing, and eventually I did one for sculpture. We always have one for photo because photo, the old black and white, where you need time to develop it in the darkroom. But we never had them for the other medias. They have for ceramics, just not drawing, painting, and sculpture. And just an amazing network of people because you have all what they call these My Turn students, and these are the students 57 and up. And these 90-year-old plus meemaws were running circles around me. They're just amazing. So I got to learn all over again. They were like such a wealth of knowledge. But then you have the young ones coming in. Like, oh, I'd love to paint, but I don't have a brush. I'd love to paint, but all I have is this cardboard. And I'm like, well, sweetie, I've got some canvases here I just gessoed. Or I have some canvases here in a gesso. If you could gesso them, then, you can have them and paint them. And that's that was my testimony all these years. And it's not me. It's not about me, to God be the glory. But hopefully in those times that I made a difference. And I remember I was questioning, because when you're at the bottom of the totem pole, obviously I'm not the president of the college, I'm down here, right? I don't care about labels. But, it was one of those times when I was questioning, am I where I need to be? Am I making a difference? And there was this young gentleman that had came into my office. He was lost. He couldn't find the room to the sculpture room, which was like across from my office. And he said, do you have a pen? I was like, yeah, I'm here. Here, I have plenty. If you need anything else, please come back and see me. I didn't think anything more about it during that semester, right? But later in the semester, I happened to be doing my runs because I have to go in between 4 classes, photography, painting, drawing, and sculpture to make sure everybody's up with OSHA and ADA compliance and EPA. Like, basically don't put anything flammable by electrics, don't leave the water running. Some people don't understand that, and don't pay the water bill, so they don't know it, right? So I go in this room, and they're like, everybody, I just need to stop for a minute. Jabor is his name. He's on Instagram. He's an amazing, amazing artist. He works for the police here in New York. He's just an amazing sketch artist. I'm so freaking proud of him. But he said, I just have to say something. He said, I was having a really shit day, and this woman gave me her pen. And that got me through. That kind gesture got me through. And I know it's just a pen, I'm sorry, but it was a time when I was questioning myself. Am I where I should be? Am I really making a difference? I'm such a peon in the grand scheme of things. Am I where I need to be? It was that one moment where I was feeling sorry for myself. I mean, I've had several. I'm human. And I was like, wow, thank you, God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I ever doubted the grand plan.
You are where you're supposed to be. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is your calling. So tell people, please, about your show, which is opening up soon.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting to that. Anyway, so my show is from my mentor, Troy Tico, at 210 Gallery on 210 24th Street between Avenue 3 and 4 in Brooklyn, New York. It's on my webpage under Rouse _house_art. And it's going to start June 12th through the 26th. And it's going to be called The Sum of Experiences.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
We are not the sum of our damage. We are the sum of our survival and the sum of our experiences. And I think right now, more than anything, people need to see, yes, people still created during the pandemic. People still survived. They persevered. They held it together. They didn't let a label define them. They didn't let a pandemic define them. And I think more than any other time, we need to make our testament known that this doesn't define us as a whole globe, because globally, this hurt us all. This hurt us all.
Oh.
In the American economy, people got hurt. We lost people. I lost dear people that used to come to my department. We all lost someone. We all feel the pain. But you know what? We can honor them. We can create. We can get up every morning. We put our pants on. We wash our face. We go out the door. That's over half the battle, just getting out of bed. And if you've done that, bravo. My glasses to you. If you got out of bed this morning, you put a change of clothes on. Okay, maybe you didn't put a change of clothes on, but you got out of the bed this morning. You did it. That is huge. My glass goes to you. You did it. You made it this far. Salute. Give yourself credit for what you have done, not for what you have not. If you woke up today, you know what? Today's the day to start. Don't think about what you did, should or could or would have didn't. It's behind you. You can't do any of that. What's ahead?
Where I saw this. I don't know where I saw this, but today is a good day for a new day, or something similar, right? Something. Today's a good day for a new day. Can I just say?
Absolutely.
Can I just give a shout out to my old friend Gabriel Mira Whimsy from drama school way
Hi,
back in London. Hi,
Daniela.
darling.
Maybe you can teach me some
What are
cool
you doing
things,
up?
huh?
Oh, it's a Saturday night.
Hi.
Okay, hold on. So it's like midnight in England. Okay. Oh,
Salute.
cheers,
Hey,
darling.
it's still happy hour, right? In England?
I
You know,
think
that's
happy
on my
hour
bucket list to
starts.
see England. I want to go, but then, you know, after this is all said and done, I'll make it over there. Maybe you could take me and show me the ropes so I don't get in
Well,
trouble.
yeah, well, no, listen, I will only get you in trouble.
Is that a promise or a threat or both?
Hi.
You
All
can
right,
ride
I have a
shotgun
drink.
my adventures any day.
Oh, listen, listen. Life does not stop. If you're alive, and like you were saying before, you've woken up this morning. You're able to move your toes, your fingers, your whatever else. You're breathing. You're healthy. That is a gift. So therefore, if you have this gift, do everything you can with it. Make the most of it. Make the bloody most of it. And this is my motto for life. Actually, that might be my next tattoo. Hold on, I got da-da-da. Make the most
Oh,
of it.
my.
Oh, that's
So when my daughter was in
oh
the military, she was away for basic training. So this says you will. On my screen, it looks backwards, but I could totally read it because I'm dyslexic. But so she was in basic training. It's true, but hey, it makes for some interesting stories because I'm, you know, if I read it weird, I hear it weird, I make up my own version, and it's so much better. So she wanted to call home because she was best sniper, you know, on basic training because they don't allow you to call home. And she said, "Mom, I don't think I can do it." And I'm going to give snaps to Melissa Etheridge because she's been my fan. Because, you know, back in the Hicks of West Virginia, in Kentucky, you know, there was no gays out there. If they were far and few between. And, you know, she came out and she made all these albums. But long story short, she made this album, and it was called You Will. And she talked about her kids. She said, if you think you'll never make it, you will. You see that mountain, you think you can't do it, you will. And I played it for my daughter in the very short few minutes she had, and that stuck with her. And you know what? She came out with honors, she came out with awards, but she came out. That was my point, you know? So when she got back, and for my 41st birthday, she said, "Ma, we're getting that matching tattoos." So I'm not winning Mom of the Year. If you can, my apology. So mine is right here, and it says
yes,
you will.
yes.
And then I'm going to have to post it. So on hers, it says you will. So we're shoulder to shoulder, and it says you will, because that stuck with her. That
Wow,
became her
wow.
testament, you will. And she knew she
Yes,
could. You know,
I
and
love that.
I was like, I was so proud to be branded that day because she remembered. And something positive I said stuck with her and shared with her. It was that
Did you
seed, that was that mustard seed that grew and removed the mountain for her, you know?
did you say you were proud to be branded that day?
I was totally proud. Like I have another tattoo that I got right
But you,
before my surgery, right before. So when I went to get reconstructive surgery in 2004, I had to wait for my divorce to be final because in Kentucky you could not get any sterilization or any surgery like that without your husband's consent. 2006, this was still in the law. If it's still there now, I'm so sorry for many of you. So I had to wait until my divorce was final. So I get my reconstructive surgery, and I make a joke. It's a sick joke. For those who are offended, I apologize ahead of time. But I say, you know what 44-year-old woman can say they have a 17-year-old vagina? Not too many. So sorry if that offended you. Send me hate mail. I'll apologize. I'll write you a handwritten letter. But in that, when they removed all of that debris and they reconstructed me and they took my pieces and made me whole again, for Kentucky to be able to do that, and it was just an amazing thing that I didn't have insurance, and there you had to get pregnant in order to get insurance, and that wasn't even an option. So for things to be put in place and God to make the blocks and the ways for me, you know, I was a single mother, just had a GED, had no insurance, and God provided ways for me to get the help I needed. Long story short, when I got the surgery, after I come through everything, they said, you know, we got some news, you got cancer. During all that reconstructive, they found cancer. And then I had to secretly go for 6 months through chemo. I couldn't even tell my best friend. Even my doctor had to scrub it from my records because their HIPAA laws were just a matter of a suggestion. And I could have lost my kids for not being well in health. They could have said, well, she's not competent to take care of her children. So I used to drive myself to chemo every day. For the longest time, I wore hats and I wore bandanas and then people thought I were being butchy, and I just rocked it anyways. You know what I mean? I just rocked it anyways. I put the makeup on and I just pretended, because you know what? You can't feel sorry for yourself. You got to keep going. And that's what I did. So that was in 2004. So it's been 17 years. And I thank God every day. I had a health scare during the pandemic. They said, you have something in you that we got to take out and biopsy. It was in one of my breasts. Thank God it was something they caught early. And I'm okay. It took several biopsies, several things. And as Wanda Sykes says, a comedian, she says, you know, here in the U.S., we don't understand the metric system. So Wanda Sykes says, you know, when we say it in the size of produce, we're like, holy shit, we got to get that out of there, right? So when they said it's the size of a kiwi, that got my attention, right? So then I make a joke because, you know, I can't allow myself to feel sorry for myself. And so I was joking to my son, and I said, well, Boo, because I call him Boo, and I said, well, now they're symmetric. They're the same size. He said, Mama, that ain't funny. I said, it's hysterical. It's funny. It's funny because, you know what? You have to find the joy and find your joy somehow in all of it, right? You have to find all of your joy. Like even
it takes a lot of strength and tenacity to do that.
Yeah, it does. Like, okay, I'll tell you something funny. Do we got time? I don't know how much time we have.
I think they're gonna cut us off in like 2 seconds.
Okay, so long story short, so I go for the mammogram, right? They get it, right? They get it, and then you go to put your arm over here, and I'm cracking jokes because I'm embarrassed because this girl hasn't even taken me out for coffee, and I'm topless already, right?
Yeah, we know the mammogram life.
Everybody knows it's where they put your tata in an envelope and they mail it off. Yeah. So anyway,
yeah.
So they say,
slowly. Muhammad says slowly.
I'll slow down. So anyways, so then the text is, oh, ma'am, I need to help you. So in the Spanish community, I don't speak much Spanish. I could read it, write it, but because my hearing. Do you know what chichos are?
Boobs? Bulls?
No, chichos are the lovely fat rolls and love handles. Those are chichos. So what had happened when I went like this, because I had no bra to keep things in perspective, my chicho right here plopped up like it was the third boob from the first Total Recall. Some things you can't make up. So this, did I lose you? Breathe, breathe, breathe. I didn't mean to kill you. Breathe. So she said, Mr. Allen, I'm so sorry. Hang on, let me help you. And she picks up my love handle. Loretta, she picks up my love handle and sets it aside to make room for my right breast. I couldn't even say face at that point. I couldn't even make eye contact. I'm like, I'm so sorry about that. Excuse me. Thank you so much for helping me with that. But I was like this. Don't know why I came out of there. But at the end of the day, it's comedy relief, right? So like, I find a way to humble you and make you see a different side of things, right? So thank God I survived all of that. Me, my two boobs, and my chicho, we all survived. We were all healthy.
At least it was just two boobs. That's good.
Well, you know, I might have a spare back over here. It's willing to take a call for auditions. It was up there ready to do whatever it needed to do. You know, I was like, so I think funny, but it's like extremely embarrassing at the same time.
I think the boob story is a great place for us to end.
Let's end it on boobs. Well, listen, if anyone is in Brooklyn and New York, Manhattan, Connecticut, otherwise drivable, June 12th, 6 p.m. at 210 Gallery on 24th Street. It's 210 24th Street between Avenue 3 and Avenue 4, okay? Please come. If you want to know more about me, you can see me at rousehouseart.com. Please follow me on Instagram. I'd love to hear about your stories and your inspirations, what you're doing. Those of you creating, those of you with disabilities, anxiety, PTSD, whatever it is. Don't let that label define you. But you know what? At Dan Disability Awareness Network, we want you. We want your artwork. We want you to show the world what you're doing. And please don't forget to go on Operational Railroad. You know, for all of those that are in human trafficking, you know, my heart goes out to them. But you know what? Thank God that that's in place. And then next Saturday, June 5th at 668 Broadway, we're having a Jolly Juices vendor event for all these fabulous queens in my life, all these independent women. This vendor event, one day I'm having my book there, book signing. So I have a limited amount for Never Broken #2. I promise you I'll get book #1 here in the States. Loretta has it right there. Please come see us at 668 Broadway Street. And I shared my links with Loretta, so hopefully she could share them with everyone. And Loretta, yes. God bless you. Thank you for being my comrade in arms, my sister, my friend, my muse. Thank you so much for loving me, knowing who I am and loving me anyways. Thank you so much. Salute
I love you because of what you are. I love you because of that beautiful heart of yours. I appreciate you, and I appreciate we were meant to be in each other's lives. Look at how we met, right? So
we knew each other before. We just had to connect again. That's the way I see it. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I think in the last life I knew how to dance, so that's on my bucket list this time. Since you said you want to go skydiving, you got to teach me how to dance.
We're going to practice our dancing when I come to see you on the 18th, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Did we talk about that show? Did we talk about that? We mentioned
yes,
that?
My show is June 12th through June 26th. So absolutely, you meet my mentor, you see my show, and it's my bucket list, right? And I want to inspire others. Knock the bucket list out. Life is too short. Don't wait no more. We got this. We all have this. We all have this. Salute to everyone that was here. Thank you so much for your love and your affection and for tuning in. Thank you for listening to me ramble and loving me anyways. And
ramble away.
Kudos to the internet and Instagram for holding up this time. God bless everybody that made that possible.
Oh my goodness. I love you, darling.
Love you too, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.